Hello Vlogalogue, did you know that the Metallica 1983 album Kill 'Em All was originally called Metal Up Your Ass, and the front cover of the album was a hand lunging forward with like a dagger from a toilet that was gonna stab you in the arse. The label at the time would not let them have that cover or that name because, you know, up your ass, and it was the 80s and that was edgy and people don't want to get stabbed in the anus as a general rule. So rather than going with that name, they went with the name Kill Them All, as in, you know, kill all the record label executives. This has been more useless musical knowledge, because that's what Kevin did, so I'm allowed to say my useless musical knowledge, although it's not really musical. Music industry knowledge? Let's get on with the video. Video now. Now, I've forgotten what we're talking about. You have to excuse my weird voice and the sniffles. I have a bit of everything. That's what you get for sleeping with prostitutes, I guess. What? Because she's fucking texting me. Damn it! For those of you who don't know, I have a girlfriend who texts me and then ruins the audio quality of my video, but whatever, you know, you have to make sacrifices for each other. My girlfriend, whose name is Izzy, so I will stop calling her my girlfriend because the word my implies some kind of possessional value, which kind of freaks me out about relationships, but that's a story for another time. We've been together quite a while. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. I would like to think that we love each other, although as a nearly 21-year-old, I know how little my opinion matters when you start saying that word, because we're all young and stupid apparently. And oh my god, my voice is getting on my nerves. I would like to think that I have been in love 2 times in my life, and I'm not going to start naming names, because that's how you start offending the army of ex-girlfriends which you have acquired over the years if they see this video. Which is highly unlikely, because most of them hate me, and why would they be googling my name? But they might, and then they might find this video, and then they might shit-bomb my house. So, let's just leave it at that, shall we? Good. Well, I had a bit of a weird one when I was younger. I wouldn't call this romance, I don't think anybody would, but let's talk about it anyway. When I was about 15-ish, was a teeny tiny little bit of a womanizer, I suppose would be the term. Although a 15-year-old womanizer, that sounds weird in my head, and it probably sounds weird to international audiences too. But yeah, 15 is quite grown up in the UK. You're expected to have, you know, an understanding of those kind of things that I don't really want to get into in case there are kiddies watching. You know, the birds and the bees, and the birds and the bees should stay the fuck away from each other and do as their dads tell them. That story. But yeah, I was kind of a bit of a dick when I was younger. I didn't see women as people, I saw them as the female kind, which are to be conquered and used and then thrown away. Or as rap artists call it, being a player! I've probably just offended a lot of rap artists now. Do we have many rap artists watching? I will never know. But I like to think that through certain women in my life that I grew up a lot. I started to understand that, you know, everybody, regardless of gender, is a complicated and beautiful person on the inside, and that it's very easy to put people into like single groups and single categories and single characteristics, but that's not how people actually work. Actually, we're extremely complicated based on like our past and how we develop and our emotions and blah 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 blah. And little Niall grew up and stopped being such a dickbag. Since then, I've had nothing but respect for, you know, people and their relationships and the opposite sex and blah 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 blah. However, it's also meant that I've never really had a problem with like being confident in what I can do and who I am and like approaching women, which is fine, because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of you probably won't believe it, but it was fairly easy for slightly younger me to just walk into like a bar or whatever and leave not alone, if you are understanding what I am saying. Should I be putting this on the internet? I don't know. You know, I think those two are very extreme things, like relationships and relations. The relations that I would consider relationships that I do have, I completely get what Kevin was talking about, where it's like, well, I could spend time with you and that's great, but on the other hand, I could do all of this. And this was particularly hard when last year, when I was in the early stages of my relationship with Izzy, I was working a job that required me to work 4 16-hour shifts a week, as well as doing a university degree, as well as doing YouTube, as well as starting to run my own business and writing for a paper. I had like no time to say, let's spend time together. Like, she would show up and I would like smash into bed coming off a shift, fall asleep for however long, then wake up at a stupid time where she was asleep, and I am such a bastard, because not once did I say, I will give you an entire weekend. It was like, yeah, you can come round, but I warn you that I might have to do this, 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 and this while you're here. So, go me. Even after I just went on about how I was learning lessons, I'm still a terrible person. But I get that sort of, well, I'm going to start resenting you because you stopped me from doing the things that I do feeling. That sucks. My friend, who I don't think I'm going to name or anything, but he's a professional Counter-Strike player, which requires him to play an inordinate amount of Counter-Strike, and like, he has lost so many relationships because he has that one thing, and that must suck. But at the same time, I have many things, and I don't want my relationship to end because I can't detach myself and say, okay, here is the time that you deserve because this relationship is about us and being together and blah blah blah. And for romance, I would like to say that I hate romance, like, completely. I think it's a stupid idea. Romance is what you need when you don't actually have like a real relationship. If you can wake up next to each other and, you know, like we do, I don't want to get into detail, but she will go up to the bathroom and then come down and be like, I apologise for looking so terrible this morning, because she's gone up and looked at herself and sorted herself out. And then it's like, it's alright. And she's like, you stink like shit, you need to go to the bathroom too. Like, I stink and she looks terrible, but we accept that and we are still in a happy, vaguely healthy relationship. And I think that is like the beauty of like actual relationships and not like romantic relationships. That it's just about two people truly understanding that they're complex human being and we're all weird and we all accept like quirks and that not everybody's perfect and everyone has negative and positive sides. It's about finding a balance with somebody that's so complementary that you can exist completely and utterly honestly with that person, which sometimes you can't even do with your closest friends. And I think that's what relationships are about, and not romance. To me, romance is this idea of artificially creating feelings by like manipulating situations. So you go to the restaurant with the candlelights and the blah blah blah. I'm not that I'm saying that that's the only way to be romantic, but that's kind of what I view as when people say, are you romantically orientated? I'm like, fuck no. Why would I want to do that when I can have something real? And that's not to say that if you enjoy like being romanced, that you don't have a real relationship, you just have a different way of existing than I do. But personally, I don't think romance is important or interesting in any way, shape or form. I think it's important to make an effort, but making an effort is there are so many different things somebody can do to make an effort to make you happy, because that is essentially what a relationship is about. It's a maintenance of happiness between two people who are extremely complicated, and you can't just be like, flowers and expensive meals for all of the women ever. Thank you and good night. Bit of housekeeping. I will not be here next week. I am taking a break from the internet for reasons and things that I'm not going to go into because this isn't my channel, it's a collab and you don't want to hear about my bitching. But next week there will be an extra special person taking my place on the channel. It's going to be sweet, it's going to be awesome, you'll love it. Bye bye again for the second time. Bye.